Congressman Al Green gets censored by the United States Congress, and Donald Trump is pushing us further and further into World War III. This and more as we jump into the pit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Social Pit Podcast. I'm the Ski. This is for the week of March 10th, 2025. Now, to date, Donald Trump has been president for less than 7 weeks, and already he has signed 83 executive orders. Now, to put that into contrast, in 2021, President Biden, for the entire year, 49 weeks, signed 77 executive orders. Now, as I have stated in the past, that many of the executive orders that Donald Trump has been signing have been frivolous, unlawful, obnoxious, and outright insane. In this past week, it makes no difference, as he addresses the national security from imports of timber and lumber from their derivative products. And Executive Order 14225, immediate expansion of American timber production. These executive orders are coming on the heels as he begins to have trade wars with Canada and their products. Canada has already started mocking President Trump in his signing of executive orders, as they have taken American alcohol off the shelves and did so in a Donald Trump mocking ceremony.
Okay, this order, it's a wonderful order, it's a beautiful order. This order is pulling American booze off the liquor mart shelves.
Because of that, Donald Trump signed Executive Order 14226, Amendment to Duties to Address the Flow of Illicit Drugs Across Our Northern Border. But alas, at the same time, he also wrote in Executive Order 14227, Amendment to Duties to Address the Situation at Our Southern Border. But notwithstanding, he even signed Executive Order 14228, Further Amendment to Duties Addressing the Synthetic Opioid Supply Chain in the People's Republic of China. Now, if Donald Trump had a very serious problem with drugs, then he should really look to his son, Junior, as he is constantly rubbing his nose. Now, as I have stated, the mocking of Canada to Donald Trump in signing his ceremonial executive orders. Canada is not the only country that is laughing at the United States over the actions of Donald Trump. Now, back in December, French President Emmanuel Macron and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk made a mocking display of Donald Trump clasping hands and raising elbows in an attempt to recreate Donald Trump's standard greeting. And after the embarrassment that Donald Trump displayed to President Zelensky of Ukraine, the rest of the world is now starting to back Ukraine in the war against Russia. Now, it was reported last week around the world, and including the BBC, that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has ordered the pausing of cyber operations against Russia. Now, it is not publicly stated that this actually happened, or it is not clear how long this halt is going to happen, but this was ordered up by Donald Trump prior to his meeting with President Zelensky. And Donald Trump is trying to push for a peaceful end to the war, so he says. But siding with the aggressors, Russia, because they went into Ukraine wanting to take Ukraine back in under Soviet rule, is where Donald Trump is getting his information from. And as I have stated, Donald Trump has made the claim that Ukraine is the one that started the war, but people within his own political party have stated otherwise. Now, Donald Trump has made claims that he is smarter than any general in the military, which is far from the truth. Donald Trump is not a military expert on anything. He is a draft dodger who received 5 deferments for the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, Donald Trump used college as 4 of his deferments to get out of the draft for Vietnam. After the 4th attempt, and no longer qualified for college deferments, Donald Trump then found a doctor to write an excuse for bone spurs as a way to disqualify him from the military service. But sadly, that did not keep him off the golf course for his time in the White House at $3.4 million a weekend. Now, to date, 7 weeks being in as President of the United States, Donald Trump has made 7 weekend trips to Mar-a-Lago. Now, this weekend, The Guardian posted an article regarding the U.S. taxpayers have shelled out tens of millions of dollars for Trump's golf trips. The president who derided Barack Obama for golfing while in office even makes money off his Mar-a-Lago weekend trips. Now, as stated by watchdog groups who have had access to the government accountability offices, they have noted that Donald Trump's own Mar-a-Lago had quadrupled the charge of rooms for the Secret Service every time Donald Trump made a trip down to Mar-a-Lago for a golf weekend. Trump organization continues to profit from these trips at the government tax dollars. And as we have stated, DOGE is trying to find ways to cut money throughout the entire United States federal governments. And as I have stated, each weekend, DOGE needs to look right under their nose in the Oval Office. And since DOGE's inception on January 20th, 2025, they have exploited, lied, defrauded our federal government by adding additional zeros to the money that they claim to have saved from the government cuts they have enacted. Now, this is all pure and absolute BS and also discovered. And DOGE has quickly changed their website to take off those additional zeros. Now, last week, one of the people I follow on TikTok, his name is Thomas the Villain Bishop. And I'll go ahead and tag that post here and also his YouTube channel here. And he had made a very astute observation regarding DOGE and secret security clearances. I also commented about my personal experience on TikTok as well under the same comments in regards to what it takes to get a secret security clearance and why DOGE has not been vetted. Here is a portion of Mr. Bishop's own words from his TikTok channel.
So government buildings, especially sensitive ones like the Treasury Department, oftentimes do have security measures.
Quick question, smarmy conservative man. What is the security clearance that Elon Musk has? What is the designated security clearance that Elon Musk has? While you're thinking about that, who vetted him? Who vetted DOGE in any way? While you're thinking about that, how did DOGE become a thing without congressional authorization? Those cyber hackers that he has working with him, one of them calls himself Big Balls, but it's neither here nor there. What are their security clearances?
We, as American citizens, as taxpayers, need to start asking our congressmen, where is the vetting process for DOGE? Who authorized the security clearances for them to have access to our sensitive data? And who is giving them the authority to really do the job that they are doing? Some of our congressional members are listed, such as Representative Al Green of Houston, Texas. Now, as I had stated in last week's special edition of the Social Pit podcast, I made mention on how Representative Green was removed from the chamber for his outburst to Donald Trump during his speech, specifically saying that Donald Trump doesn't have the mandate. I had also made mention as to how Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene both disrupted President Biden's speeches during his State of the Union addresses, and how President Biden reacted.
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks.
President Biden did not have Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert removed from the chamber. He then called them out on their bullshit and said that he had the proof, which in fact he did. Many Republicans were trying to cut Social Security and Medicare across the board, thus disenfranchising those people, the elderly and the poor, from getting access to it that they desperately need in order to survive as American taxpaying citizens. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert do not like to reply in such kind as being called out on their lies. They want people to believe that their faith-based ideologies, that God will handle everything, is going to be the only way to take care of things. These people also claim to be about law and order, but they're not, considering that at the end of this past week, they released a budget for defunding the police departments all across the country. And in that process, there was $2 billion that was allocated for police departments all across the country, and they are trying to cut it down to zero. These are the same people that said that they support the blue, they back the blue. But because there is now a convicted felon in the White House, they choose to defund the police department, defund the Justice Department, and Donald Trump announced just this past week he is going to go after the prosecutor who put his friend Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for human trafficking. But as we go back to Congressman Al Green, he, for his outburst, was censored by the United States House of Representatives, punished for speaking out for we the people. And because we the people want to speak out against the tyranny that Donald Trump is trying to promote, he is getting upset with us and trying to do what he can to put us in a world war with our allies. Donald Trump can say that he's all about the American people. He is not. He is all about his elite people that will pay his fines for his criminal empire, for his racism, and his child predatory desires. And the fact that he is now attacking the prosecutor who put Maxwell in prison indicates that he does still have that tendency of Epstein Island. If Donald Trump wasn't about that, then he would not be attacking the prosecutor one iota. Now, as a veteran, prior to January 20th, many people have told me that Donald Trump is all about veterans. Donald Trump is all about veterans. He is not. I have looked into Project 2025 and the disgrace that it is towards our veteran community. Project 2025 is a Christian nationalist ideology and wanting to put everything into perspective and put everything in God's own hands. This ideology and faith base is a huge contradiction to the First Amendment of the Constitution, where Congress shall pass no laws respecting the establishment of any religion. Donald Trump, being The draft dodger that he is has disrespected us veterans on so many levels, beginning with Senator John McCain, the late great senator from Arizona who made a presidential run in 2008. As a veteran, I felt strongly for him and had the ideology that I was going to vote for him against President Barack Obama. But unfortunately, his pick for running mate, Sarah Palin, was the showstopper. Sarah Palin had proven that she is not a worthy candidate as a politician who was very uneducated, poorly educated, and the epitome of trash. Sarah Palin made politics all about racism, where she tried to spread lies and rumors about President Barack Obama, calling him a Muslim terrorist, and also started the birther movement, trying to say he was not born here in the United States. Donald Trump tried to add on to that by presenting a fake, false birth certificate of President Barack Obama, saying that he was born in Nigeria. And the problem is when Donald Trump presented said birth certificate, it was written in English. English is not a language that is used in Nigeria. And many of Donald Trump's MAGA fans took that as truth. And this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has disparaged people or discredited people or insulted people. He does this on the daily. Sleepy Joe Biden, corrupt Kamala, just using derogatory words when he announces people. So in accordance with the First Amendment of the Constitution, I am going to call Donald Trump exactly what he is. The child predator that he is. The disgraced traitor that he is. The Russian asset that he is. And the liar to us veterans. The more he insults us disabled veterans, the more furious I, as a disabled veteran, get. Which is why on January 20th, Donald Trump took it upon himself to fire 2,000 employees from the VA. And just this past week, a leaked memo had been released to the public saying that they were going to eliminate 76,000 more people from the VA, thus negating the processing of individuals signing up for the PACT Act. People such as myself, a Desert Storm veteran, who has now been impacted by the PACT Act. The PACT Act was signed into law by President Joseph Biden in response to his son Beau Biden's death, who served in Iraq. Doctors were able to link Beau Biden's brain cancer to that of the burn pits that were used in Iraq and Saudi Arabia. These burn pits release toxins into the air that us Americans, who are not familiar with the territory or the terrain or the environment of the Middle East, our bodies were not acclimated to the atmosphere and thus susceptible to diseases and toxins that could actually produce such harmful cancers such as lung and brain cancer. The PACT Act is going to help benefit us veterans who were served in the United States military in support of Operation Desert Storm, Operation Southern Watch, Operation Northern Watch, Operation Iraqi Freedom. And without those employees there, the process to apply for those funds that we are entitled to becomes a longer and more drawn out process than what was designed by President Biden. Now, last week I saw an advertisement online of people trying to rally the veterans to go to state capitals all across the country in all 50 states. On Friday, March 14th, many people have called for a rally at your state capital of all veterans to protest Project 2025 and the firing of the 76,000 VA employees. If work and weather permit me, I am going to try and make an attempt to go down to my state capital and see if this rally does happen. If it does, I will do my best to take video and talk to some of the people that are going to be there and bring it to you right here on the Social Pit Podcast. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm the Ski. Check back next week, right here on Mondays, beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Social Pit Podcast. Have a day.
About to go down, going all out. This is right now, yeah. Together we rise. It's about time. Unleash the power. Yeah. Unleash the power. Yeah. Unleash the power. Yeah. Unleash the power. Yeah. Unleash the power.
In a league of our own, the fire never fades, still breaking the mold, no matter what it takes.